Hey, my name is Sophia Colucci, and I live in Chicago, and I'm the Vice President of Global Miller Family of Brands for Molson Coors. I'm a Canadian. DeGroote alumni. I spent most of my life in Canada. My family's also South American from Uruguay, so I lived there when I was younger as well. And I've been living in Chicago for the last 8.5 years, married with two sons, Joaquin and Alejandro, who are 5 and 4. And I've been working at Molson Coors now for the past 3 years. And then prior to Molson Coors, I spent 8 years at PepsiCo, both in Canada and then here in Chicago. And before that, I was at Maple Leaf Foods. I graduated from McMaster into their management trainee program. So I was there for about 7 years. Everyone has a slightly different variation, but I took undergrad business at McMaster, and really, the reason I did that was it was practical. And at the time, my parents said, study something where you can get a job. And the good thing is though, I really, I discovered my passion for marketing when I was there. And then when I graduated, there was an opportunity at Maple Leaf Foods in the management trainee program. And I thought that was really interesting to get a cross-functional experience. But again, the road kept leading me back to marketing is something I was very passionate about. And then after spending a number of years at Maple Leaf Foods, touching everything from sausages to bacon and doing some fun campaigns with it, I realized I wanted to be at a company that, had more of a global presence and probably had a little bit more of that, consumer driven focus. And I went to PepsiCo. And that was a great decision. Although I love Maple Leaf Foods, PepsiCo was a great place for learning. I spent 2 years in the Canada office working on the beverage business. And then I actually asked to be transferred to the US. And so I ended up in Chicago working on our nutrition businesses, specifically Quaker. So I was there for 6 years doing a variety of different roles. So all the time I've been focused probably on a combination of brand management as well as innovation. And then this opportunity came up 3 years ago at Miller Coors to lead their innovation team. And that's really been like a defining moment, I think, for my career, just because it was an opportunity to take so much of what I had learned throughout my career and really apply it to transform a company and where we were going from an innovation perspective. It's been extremely rewarding in terms of the things that our team's been able to accomplish. It hasn't been easy, but we've definitely been able to do it. And now, in the last, over the summer, I switched roles and now I'm leading our Miller family of brands. Probably one of the most challenging situations I've had in the last couple of years has been really trying to play catch up with our portfolio from an innovation perspective. And so one of the things that we realized we had a major gap in is the hard seltzer segment. And so you guys are probably seeing it now in Canada with White Claw coming in. And so that had already started here in the US. And we had a brand, but it wasn't really the right brand. And we were behind. So actually, I spent the first year and a half in my role while I built a pipeline. I accelerated the launch of another product that was kind of like a hard seltzer, but not really. But it wasn't what our organization needed. So that was a huge learning experience, just because while we were able to get something out quickly and we were proud of, the capabilities that we built to make it happen, it wasn't the right product. So that was a big learning opportunity, I think, for me. And one of the things I really believe when it comes to innovation is the idea of launching something that is differentiated for consumers, for retailers, for distributors. And so, we looked at where the hard seltzer segment was and also where we believe there's opportunities. And one of the things that we decided to do was launch a hard seltzer that eliminated all the bad things, just like all the other hard seltzers. So less sugar, less calories, gluten-free, but also had a presence of positives. So we're the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. So we actually launched it again in rapid fire, as fast as we could. Typically a launch used to take us 1.5 to 2 years. We did it in 7 months. And we were actually able to make an awesome product, an awesome brand. It tastes amazing. 20% of your daily amount of vitamin C. It's called Vizzy. And we launched it right at the beginning of the pandemic in March. So that was tough, but at the same time, alcohol sales, at least in grocery stores, have fared quite well. So I think that's been okay, but it was still challenging just from a supply perspective, all that kind of stuff that everyone's been facing with the pandemic. But what I would say is that was definitely, the ups and downs. And like, there's been other products that my team launched during that time, but just like the learnings we took from the product that we launched originally, and then being able to apply those learnings and take it to Visi, I think was, a really great experience for us. I think the person, who's been most my guiding light has been my mom. I think the reason that I look up to her for mentorship is obviously like, not only is she my mom, but she's also, someone who's like very accomplished, but has like been able to have a successful career and been able to balance motherhood and do all these other things. And, she's made choices in her life. But she's one of those people, like even when I was growing up, I would have like teachers who'd want her to come in and like talk to the class just because like she is really intelligent and she has, I would say, like probably one of the highest EQs of anyone I know. Someone who has been a really great mentor for me is Mandeep Malik. And I know he has been for a lot of other students as well too. Like when I was at McMaster, he's one of the reasons that I actually had like such a rewarding experience there. I think he helps to really give students a lot of inspiration and wisdom. And even after I graduated, like when I had my ups and downs throughout my career, whether it was at Maple Leaf or PepsiCo, like he was always someone that I could go to. He is actually someone who I like still, can call today and get advice from. I think over the years, especially as, my responsibilities have gotten bigger and I'm like leading bigger teams, like to me, the more rewarding piece is when I can see people that, work on my team and with me succeed. And when I see them feeling proud about their accomplishments, that is to me like extremely rewarding. I would say even too, like in the last like 6-7 months, like throughout the pandemic, like seeing how we've come together, seeing how like our teams have like united and people have shown each other a lot of support. And there's just been, and I mean, especially like obviously across the world, but even like here in Chicago, like not only have we had the pandemic, but then we've also had like just a lot of like big issues and like riots that have happened and like people feeling like there's just been a lot of emotions. And one of the most rewarding things for me and as a leader has been for me to like see my team come together and to be able to provide that support and see that people like respond to it so well. It doesn't matter what school you went to. It really doesn't matter. It's what you make out of it when you're there. And I can't stress that enough. And I can say this, and I feel like I have a kind of a right to say it, especially being in the US when I am leading teams with Harvard and, Kellogg MBAs. And it was definitely like a little bit intimidating when I got here and seeing that and thinking, oh, like I don't even have an MBA and I came from an undergrad school that you guys have never heard of. But that doesn't really matter. And I think the most important thing that I can tell people is make the most of whatever experiences that you're given. So when I was at McMaster, like jumping at doing an exchange and doing an internship and then becoming a teacher's assistant, like all of these things kind of like build on each other and they actually like, they help your resume. And then suddenly you're like you're a more qualified candidate. Enjoy it and take every opportunity. And then that's how you get to, the places and the really cool and fun jobs.